Tottenham Hotspur against Chelsea. It was a game that Tottenham fans used to dread. Then they used to like it for a bit. Now they're going to dread it again. It feels like. It's been a strange couple of weeks for Spurs, because literally last week they were top of the league. Now they've kind of sort of dropped down from that one defeat, a heavy defeat at Crystal Palace, and they were very, very poor in that game. And I was having a look at some of the numbers with them, because when it comes to Spurs and what Spurs fans want, they want more attacking football. They want to be a little bit more excited than they have been in previous, well, last year in particular. They've got the fourth worst XG in terms of goals scored. They've got the fourth worst shots taken so far. But in terms of shots on target, the percentage, their top 42% of their shots have been on target. Does this sort of highlight Nuno's style, and does this highlight a possible friction between the fans and and Nuno down the road, when the way that they're playing is very similar to the way they played at Wolves? Not many chances, but high quality ones.
I think you've got to think about how Tottenham played last year and the difficult season that they had. They're in recovery mode. You've got to build the basics before you can add the cherry on top, if you know what I mean. So I think Nuno Espirito Santo started the season well, 3 wins out of 3. It was chastening against Crystal Palace. It was a real eye-opener about the depth in the squad. Now, Christian Romero might be back. Davinson Sanchez might be back. That will make a difference to their defence. But the Japhet Tanganga, Eric Dyer experiment is over, I think, in centre-half. Yet they had to play that way in the Europa Conference League. But once they have those other defenders back, I think it is a very different Tottenham team with a little bit more confidence. But you're right to say that this does highlight the style of Nuno Espirito Santo. We know exactly how he's going to play. Tottenham fans called him Mourinho light when he came in, or Mourinho times 2. I think, listen, that's fair in a way, but it's what works for Nuno Espirito Santo. I think when he was the manager of Wolves, we felt they had to play that way because they weren't quite an elite side, but they finished, right where they needed to be in the Europa League spots. It was absolutely fantastic. Yes, of course, it dropped.
Does the same apply here, Hugh?
Well, this is the thing, what's the best recipe for Tottenham getting back into the top floor? They need to be hard to beat. They haven't got the defense of other sides, and they haven't got the squad depth of other teams. He's still working his way through the players he wants to keep as well. It's very much, a manager coming in and getting used to the players at the club and seeing who his favourites are going to be. And I think he's still in that period right now. But I do think missing Sanchez and Romero affected Tottenham in that defeat against Crystal Palace. Japhet Tanganga wasn't comfortable in his position. Of course, he was run a little bit ragged by Wilfried Zaha, and I think that played into the result. Of course, the red card had a huge effect on the outcome of the game, in particular the scoreline. So I don't think Tottenham are as bad as that result suggested. But I don't think you're going to get free-flowing football out of them. I think they want to be hard to beat. They want to take their chances when they get them. They're growing as a side in this style, which is certainly a little bit different towards Jose Mourinho. They're not sitting all the way back, but it's definitely built on defensive solidity. And I don't see any issue with that. Tottenham aren't one of the elite sides in the Premier League, whether we like it or not, whether their fans like it or not. They've got to do what's best for them. How are Everton playing? How are West Ham playing? How do Leicester City play? None of these sides go out there and try and play teams off the park. They do what works for them. And if Nuno Espirito Santo finds out that this is what works for him, he's got to do it. He's got to stay true to his philosophy. And if it works with these Tottenham players, he will be a success there. I've got all the faith in the world that a top 6 finish will be on the cards for Tottenham Hotspur. They just got to plug away. There will be defeats. Of course, there's going to be defeats. Yeah. But I think if he keeps his head down and the players there stay focused on the style, they will be a success.
It'd be interesting to see how that affects Harry Kane. If Spurs aren't scoring that many goals, so he's obviously not scoring that many goals at the moment. And that tweet and him saying, "I will be with Spurs this season," being very kind of specific on that. This style of play, that's my only other concern, is that kind of because Spurs fans have seen this, I guess Spurs players have seen this kind of feeling around the way that you play, where I guess with Pochettino's side, if they kind of went for it and missed out on the victory or conceded a late one, then it was a bit more understandable. It's a bit like when we talk about Leeds, often we kind of give them a free pass because of the style of play. Having seen what happened last year, my concern with them is that, if Harry Kane is not feeling his best, I expect him to always kind of punish teams and score those chances for them. but I can see it coming. Also with the churn of the Conference League for them as well, it does concern me a little bit, because I think, that narrative is there to be had where Kane's fed up, Spurs fans are fed up, the football's dire, to excuse the pun, and they're not winning the games as well. And when it all comes together, it's a dangerous time for them. Added to that with what you're saying there about the injuries as well, I think it's a precarious time.
What I would say about Harry Kane, though, is this style that Nuno Espirito Santo has brought actually suits him at this time in his career and the injury issues that he's had. I spoke about him being overplayed a little bit earlier on. I've always felt that's been the case with him. Too many minutes on the pitch, too many games that he shouldn't be involved in. As great as it would be to win the Europa Conference League, come on, you don't need Harry Kane. You shouldn't need Harry Kane in the Europa Conference League. Manage the guy's minutes, manage his appearances, keep him for the games that really, really matter. Tottenham should have enough to get through the group stage without using Harry Kane too much. But actually, when I talk about the style of football suiting his injury record and him not really being 100%, a more attacking style has less efficiency for him as a striker. Where you want him is in and around the box now. He's been dropping really, really deep. I was watching, I went to Poland to watch the England game. Even for England, he was back defending, making tackles on the edge of the box. Harry Kane shouldn't be now, as he goes towards the latter end of his 20s. He shouldn't be this all around the pitch player. You need to focus on keeping him where it really counts, which is the penalty box. And with Raul Jimenez at Wolves, Nuno Espirito Santo was excellent at doing that. Having Diogo Jota, who for me is Heung-min Son, that's the parallel at Tottenham Hotspur, and Jimenez/Kane in the right position, affecting the penalty box where it really matters, is going to be key. And I think Nuno's got the answer for that. So I think this is the right manager for Harry Kane at this point in his career. I don't know how long they're going to work together, but I think you should be pleased if you're a Tottenham fan with the way things are going. They're just going to keep building. I'm very confident that Nuno's the right man.
Let's have a prediction then from you, Hugh. I mean, we're not going to touch on Chelsea too much because all is rosy at Stamford Bridge at the moment. But in this game at Spurs, what do you think is going to happen?
Very hard for Chelsea to concede goals. Lots of people think they are title favourites. The way that Romelu Lukaku started, you'd have to say if he stays fit, they probably are title favourites. So I think this game's going to be a very tough one for Tottenham Hotspur. Maybe the home crowd will affect it. It's a London derby. It means a lot of players should be up for it. But of course, they played on Thursday evening away from home. So I think it will be a difficult match for Tottenham. I'm going to go for Chelsea. And I think it's probably going to be 3-1. What do you think?
Yeah, 2-goal difference for me as well. I think Chelsea will win this. 61% of the games under Tuchel have been clean sheets. I think that will continue. I think it'll be a 2-0 victory for Chelsea in this one.
Hi, I'm Hugh Wisencroft from ESPN's Football Forecast. Make sure you're subscribed. You can follow all of our predictions throughout the season and get some other great analysis from our big names as well.